queen was cruel and vain. She hated anyone whose beauty rivaled her own, and she watched her stepdaughter with angry, jealous eyes. Have you heard this story before?
You know this one? Oh, perfect. You can help me have it.
Wendy's been helping me practice my stories.
It's not very good.
The queen had magic powers, known a wondrous mirror that spoke every day. She stood before it and asked, "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" That's what the evil queen sounds like.
And the mirror says, "You're the fairest of them all, your majesty."
No, you have to do the rhyme. There's a rhyme.
There's a rhyme. You are the fairest one of all, O queen. The fairest our eyes have ever seen.
As time passed,
my mirror.
Snow White grew more and more
Do you want to
beautiful,
come and sing?
and the queen grew more and more envious. So she forced the princess to dress in rags and work from dusk till dawn. Ew.
Lots and lots of chores.
That sounds like the life of a pirate.
Maybe like Mr. Smee.
Despite all the hard work, wait, it does sound like Mr.
It
Smee.
does.
Maybe Captain Hook is jealous of Mr. Smee.
I think we should put
Maybe
two
Mr.
pieces
Smee's the
together.
most beautiful one in the land.
Or at least on the pirate ship.
Despite all the hard work, Snow White stayed sweet, gentle, and cheerful. Day after day, she washed and swept and scrubbed, and day after day, she dreamed of a handsome prince who would come and carry her off to his castle. Well, some consider me to be a prince, and I do have a castle. That's my castle.
No, that's not yours.
Yes, it is.
No, where's your name?
Well, I
Not
wrote
on
it. Yeah,
it.
no, it's on the other side.
Alright, we'll test it here later.
I'm gonna paint it green soon. No, don't listen
Just
to
make
her.
the treehouse look like a castle. Be a fun
One day,
project.
when the queen spoke to her mirror, it replied with the news she had been dreading. There was now someone even more beautiful than the queen. And that person was me, Peter Pan!
Do you think Peter Pan was the fairest one of all? No.
I think I
Who
am.
do you think it was? That.
It was Snow White. That was the answer. The queen sent for her huntsman. "Take Snow White deep into the forest," she said.
We have to do the queen voice.
"The Snow White deep into the forest," she said. "And there, my faithful huntsman, you will end her." Dun dun dun!
Suspense.
The man begged and the queen to have mercy, but she would not be persuaded. "Silence," she warned. "You know the penalty if you fail."
It gives the name Evil Queen very good meaning. Not very
The
much
next
sense.
day, Snow White, never suspecting that she was in danger, went off with the huntsman. When they were deep in the woods, the huntsman drew his knife, and then suddenly he fell to his knees. "I can't do it," he sobbed. "Forgive me." And he told her it was the queen who had ordered this wicked deed.
Queen. She.
"The queen?" gasped Snow White.
No, that is Snow White.
"The queen?" gasped Snow White. "She's jealous of you," said the huntsman. "She'll stop at nothing. Quick, run away and don't come back. I'll lie to the queen. Now go, run, hide." Frightened, Snow White fled through the woods. Branches tore at her clothes, sharp twigs scratched at her arms, and strange eyes stared from the shadows. Danger lurked everywhere. Snow White ran on and on.
I'm glad there's no
I don't know
woods
why
like
Snow
this
White's
in
so
Neverland.
afraid. I wouldn't be afraid of the woods.
Well, you don't have woods like this in Neverland, thank goodness.
I wouldn't be afraid of anything.
You're not afraid of trees with scary faces that claw you and scratch
No.
you? Oh, he is very, very
I'm
brave.
in a Matterhorn, and there's this Yeti on a track.
Really?
And
Do you know the Yeti's name? It's Harold.
And he's not really all that scary. Peter hid treasure up there to keep away from the pirates, and Harold's trying to scare them off.
Bye, Belle.
he's on a track.
All right, let's see what happens next. At last, Snow White fell wearily to the ground and began to weep. The gentle animals of the forest gathered around and tried to comfort her, chirping and chattering. They led her to a tiny cottage. "Oh," said Snow White, "it's adorable, just like a doll's house." That's what Snow White sounds like.
Good job, Peter.
But inside there were little tables and chairs covered with dust, and the sink was filled with dirty dishes. Sounds like the Lost
It
Boys.
does. It sounds like the treehouse quite a bit.
"My," said Snow White, "perhaps the children who live..." "My," said Snow White, "perhaps the children who live here are orphans, and they need someone to take care of them." Maybe they'll let me stay and keep house for them.
Oh, they needed a mother.
The animals all helped, and soon the place was neat and tidy. Wait, can Snow White talk to animals?
Maybe. Maybe that's the secret. You have to talk to them with that voice.
Do you guys know how to talk to animals? If you could talk to any animal, what animal would you talk to?
Bunny.
You talk to bunnies?
Bunnies.
That's a good animal. Dolphins? I love
There's
dolphins.
bunnies here.
What animal would you talk to? You
dolphins
could talk to any animal. I talk to penguins. I feel like they're very smart and they have a lot to say.
Oh, and you can put pixie dust on them and then they can finally fly.
Yeah,
I bet they want to fly.
I'm sure they do. They wouldn't be better at it than me, though.
Oh, of course.
Pretty
not.
stringy.
Okay, next page. Meanwhile, the 7 men who lived in the cottage were heading home from the mine where they worked. Ew.
Okay, very grown up.
The 7 were amazed to find their house so clean. They were even more amazed when they went upstairs and saw Snow White.
Oh,
"It's a girl," said Doc.
friend.
Yes,
All right.
she's beautiful, sighed Bashful. "Ah," said Grumpy, "she's going to be trouble. Mark my words."
Very good about the husband.
Thank you. Snow White woke up with a start and saw the 7 gathered around her. "Why, you're not children," she said. "You're little men." "I read your names across the bed," she continued. "Let me guess who you are."
Do you know the names of all of them?
Can you name them all? There's 7 of them. Let's see. There's Sleepy, Happy,
Doc.
Doc,
Grumpy.
Grumpy,
Bashful.
Bashful,
Sneezy.
Sneezy, and there's one more.
Guero.
That's not his name. That was close though.
Very
Dopey.
That's right, we got all 7.
Yeah.
Good job.
She said, "Let me guess who you are. You're Doc, and you're Bashful, and you're Sleepy, and you're Sneezy, and you're Happy, and you're Dopey, and you must be Grumpy." When Snow White told her new friends about the Queen's plan to end her, they decided that she should stay with them. "We're asking for trouble," huffed Grumpy.
Oh, Grumpy.
But we can't let her get caught by that wicked Queen. I mean, wicked Queen," said Doc. The others agreed. That night after supper, they all sang and danced and made merry music. Is that Captain Hook?
Coming.
Oh, perfect. I have a role for him when he
Doing
gets
that
here.
casual,
He
yes.
can be part of the storytelling.
Very good.
Exactly.
That's right.
They all sang and
You know
danced
the
and made
story.
merry music. Bashful played the concertina. What's a concertina? What is that?
You think he's playing?
Who?
Who's playing it?
Is he coming this way?
Yes.
We'll make him part of the story when he
Bashful?
joins.
It's that thing. Wait, where's Bashful at?
Right up here.
Oh, there.
That.
That one's Bashful.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, Happy tapped on the drums. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. Sleepy tooted his horn. Grumpy played the organ. And Dopey wiggled his ears.
Can you wiggle your ears? Oh, she can do it.
Whoa!
You should learn that from him.
Snow White loved her new friends, and she felt safe at last. Captain!
Captain!
Hook! You old
You're
codfish,
just
come
in
here!
time!
You're in time for story time.
We need your help!
We need your help.
You can save the day for
There's
once!
a character, and we need you to play
Yes,
them.
you.
You're the only one that can. You have the perfect face for it. We need you to play the old, haggard woman. Can you do that, Captain?
Say yay, Captain!
Yay, Captain! Okay, Captain, now hunch over a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, there we go, that's
Now,
good.
hands out like this.
Oh, hands, sorry.
Sorry,
Right
hands
there.
out like that.
Okay,
Yeah, just like that,
that's
just like that. And now, you already have the nose, so don't do anything there. But, okay, so just act out the story when it's your time, okay? Meanwhile,
You, Captain.
the Queen, you're the Queen, that's your cue. The Queen had learned from the mirror that Snow White was still alive with a magic spell. Magic spell, do magic. She turned herself into an old peddler woman, and she filled the basket with apples, putting a poisoned apple on top. One bite, she cackled. Wendy, can you give us a cackle? No, I'm thinking more like... Oh, that was good.
Thank you.
She cackled. and Snow White will sleep forever, and I'll be the fairest in the land.
Good job, Captain.
Captain, I don't think you would ever be the fairest in the land. By the way, we have this theory. Snow White was put in rags and was forced to work all day.
Lots
It
and
sounds
lots
like
of
what you
choice.
do to Mr. Smee. Maybe you think Mr. Smee is the fairest in the land.
Are you jealous of Mr. Smee?
Are you jealous? A little bit?
He does have a lovely striped shirt to wear.
Mm-hmm. And he's always very nice.
Very nice.
Okay, next part of the story. The next morning, before they left for the mine, the 7 warned Snow White to be on her guard. Don't let nobody or nothing in the house, said Grumpy. Oh, Grumpy, said Snow White. You do care. I'll be careful, I promise. She kissed them all and said goodbye. Ew! Imagine that. All the men were cheerful and they went off to work. A few minutes later, the Queen came to the kitchen window. Wendy, act like Snow White.
What?
Wendy, act like Snow White
All right.
in this scene. Captain, you be the Queen. A few minutes later, the Queen came to the kitchen window. Making pies, dearie? She asked. It's apple pie the men love. Here, taste one of these. She handed the poisoned apple to Snow White. Snow White, who remembered her friend's warning. But the woman looked harmless, and the apple looked so delicious. Snow White bit the apple. Then with a sigh, she fell to the floor. Told by the birds and the animals that something was wrong, the 7 raced back to the cottage. They saw the Queen sneaking off, and they ran after her. As storm clouds gathered, the 7 began to chase the Queen to the top of a high rocky mountain. Crack! There was a big flash of lightning, and the evil Queen fell to her doom below.
Captain, that's your fault. Yeah, very good.
Oh yeah, she's asleep. Captain, fall to your doom below. Fall to your doom. Fall to the doom. Go, do it. Act like you're melting. Melt.
Oh, that's good.
Was that good enough? I didn't feel the commitment. Captain, try it again. He was melting on you? I'm sorry. Wrinkles are contagious. Try not to touch them too much. But it was too late for Snow White. She was beautiful, and the 7 could not bear to part with her. They built her a coffin of glass and gold, and day and night they kept watch over their beloved princess. Till one day, a handsome prince came riding through the forest. As soon as he saw Snow White, he fell in love with her. Kneeling by her coffin, he kissed her. Ew! Snow White sat up, blinked and smiled. The prince's kiss had broken the evil spell, and the 7 danced with joy. The prince carried Snow White off to his castle, where they lived happily ever after.
Yay!
The end.
That was a good story.